everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to another start to finish layout. Yes, we have a lot of fun things in store for today. Yes, okay. So not only are we going to do a start to finish layout, we're going to play with a load event. We're going to do a 2-page spread, and it's going to be Disney. And then I might even crack out my slice machine. Oh, yes. Go grab a cup of something, because we're going to have some fun and scrapbook and play today. So I got asked during the load event, how do I handle that? When the load event happens and you get that prompt and you get that video and, what do I do from that? So in the beginning of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about that process. So if you don't want to hear about that, just skip to the end. There'll be a finished 2-page spread, okay, about the, what is it called? Move it, shake it, dance it, and play it, parade at Disney. Yes, okay. So the load prompt for today is do you believe in magic? And that has to do with a group called the Lovin Spoonful. It's a song of theirs. I've never heard of the group, but I've heard of the song many, many times. And so then because of that, Alice gave us the story prompt, what music is your magic? And what is something you loved as a girl, because that's what the song is about. And also supplies you loved as a girl, which probably for all of us is stickers and paper. Yes, I didn't get a lot of stickers growing up, but we played with a lot of paper, a lot of scrap paper that my parents didn't want. And then a technique was to use hearts. Okay, so that's pretty simple. So what happens is when I get that video in the morning, that email with the video and all that inspiration, is I just have a little tablet going on for the month, and I write down what the story and the technique prompt is, and then if I have an idea, it comes over in the side and I cross it off when I get it done and all that. So as the day is going on and I'm thinking about that, then I start pulling supplies. So what I do is I start thinking about my photos or my story. Okay, and of course, this is Do You Believe in Magic? And it had to do with music. So of course, I was just sorting some Disney photos, and so this parade was not very far from my brain. And I will tell you, as you're in your space, whatever you just bought or whatever you just worked on or whatever you just organized is really not too far in your brain. And so that's sometimes why we pull the same thing over and over again, or why we play with what we just bought. It's just the way the brain works that way. So I pulled the photos, and then I said, okay, I have a lot of photos. I have 23 photos. So I'm going to show that process too, how I determine which ones I'm going to use and which one I'm not. And so then I just went to I went right to Scrapbook Generations, and I pulled a sketch with a lot of photos and something that I wanted to play with. And so of course I can't show the sketch, but it's basically the left is 2 big circles with a bunch of random circles, and then the right is basically just a collage of photos and journaling cards. Okay, so it's not a complicated sketch, but it does allow you to use a lot of photos. So I just pulled the sketch as an inspiration. So of course, as I have my sketch pulled, I'm not planning where anything's going. That's just my process. It's my photos. Of course, my inspiration was load from Alice, and then I pulled my photos, and then if I have a couple minutes, I come and find a sketch, and then I go do some housework or answer phone calls, pay the bills, sweep the floors, whatever I need to do. And so then after, as I'm doing all this housework and just everyday life, I'm thinking, okay, I got those photos, I have my sketch, and then I think, okay, what am I going to do for papers? And I'm in the mood where I just want to play with paper pads and kits for a while. So I pulled out my little vending machine or catalog of my paper pads and my kits, and so I just flipped through, and I got to number 4 kit, and what is it? It is my Pinkfresh BU Knockoff, and I'll have the video link below where I showed how I created that. So it only took me a minute to find my papers, and I mean less than a minute. And then I just go to my closet, I grab grab the bag number 4. That is all it is, folks. Just a plain old bag, and those are Dollar Tree storage bags. And where is my box? Because someone just asked me about that. Oh my goodness, I had a box of them. What did I do with the box? Hang on, I'll find it. Oh, I must have lost it. No, I had a box. Oh, great gravy train. Now you have got to be. Did it fall? It must have fell. Well, I'll have to be editing. Or maybe I'll just leave it in. Okay, I'll just leave it in. Okay, here's the box. Okay, and some gals have said they're having trouble finding them. Sometimes you need to look where the laundry and hangers and that they won't be with the Ziploc and sandwich bags and wax paper. And so that's what they look like. You get 3 in a box, and those are the large size. Now I have gotten the extra large, and if you want a big bag, especially if you're moving, traveling, or just packing up some things in your home, get the extra large. You only get 2 in a box, but the extra large is an extra large bag. It's just made the same. Very, very durable, and with that zip, and then also too with that handle. This is 15 by 15. Great bags, and I say buy more than 1 box. Yes, absolutely. The last time I stocked up on them, my sister found them. She said, how many do you want? I said, at least 12. Yeah, so yes, I just keep them in my storage room, and I keep a stockpile of them because I use them more than just for scrapbooking. Okay, so with the kits, I pulled out my kit, and everything I need to create this 2-page layout is in that kit. And so there's my papers, and of course it's this Pinkfresh BU knockoff. And then, of course, I pulled my papers. And so, with this sketch in mind, and with my papers pulled, okay, I'll just keep on showing. These are the papers that I picked, okay? So, on the left, I'm going to have this basic gray. Is that basic gray? No, I think this is basil. That's the B side. Very, very pretty. Love navy. I'm going to use that as my background because that's just what was in my kit, and I'm just using something basic. And then I'm going to use these 2 pieces of paper. One is Echo Park, one Simple Stories. This is going to be a big circle, and this is going to be an even bigger circle, okay? So that is basically my left page. And then on my right is just going to be, I'm going to wallpaper that entire 12 by 12 with photos and embellishments and scraps and things like that. So I went to my little section that's under my desk that are papers that I no longer want, or I don't foresee me using. This is one of them. But if the back is white, I can use it as a piece of cardstock. And so that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to be wallpapering it. Doesn't matter what the back looks like. Okay, so those are my papers, along with the sketch calls for a lot of random circles, okay, in all different sizes. So what I decided to do was just grab my scraps. Okay, now you could also grab a 6x6 paper pad for that, but I just grabbed my scraps, and within those kits that are in bags, I keep my scraps within a page protector, or you could just use another bag, and I will use these scraps for all those random circles that's going to land on this 2-page spread. Very, very easy, because all my circle punches are in a Totally Tiffany punch bag, okay? Love having all my circle punches because the sketch calls for, well, I don't even look at the sketch about how many circles and the sizes. I just go, it's basically just a jump start to get me started on my page. Okay, so that is the sketch. Those are the papers, okay? And then the supplies are basically going to come from the kit as well. And so this is what I mean by having a kit. Look at this. All the thickers that I need, or flat alphas. And there's some other decorative stickers. And then these are the embellishments, okay? I even have washi. So if I don't have enough pattern paper, so many things you can do with this lovely little product of washi. And so I have all of these. So I'll just play with all that stuff. Sequins, you know I'm going to be cracking that out. I have my Disney punch. I have that right to my left on my desk. Okay, so I just have everything ready. I just need to start. Now, the sketch did call for 2 big circles. And I have, I was gifted Creative Memories cutting circle system, but they're not big enough for as what the sketch shows. I mean, they're like big, like 9 or 10 or 11 inches. And so I'm going to show you the poor man's version of how to cut a circle if you don't have a cutting system, okay? You can definitely use a bowl, okay? And then just get 2 different size bowls in your kitchen. I did that for many years, okay? But then I keep some stencils and templates in one of these, just a divided pocket, okay? So what I have to do my circles, and I'm only going to do 2, and I don't even know what this is, maybe an 8 or 9, I don't know. And so, you know, you buy those, I'll turn it this way, you buy those pie pans that are in the circle, and this, you know, if you get a carry-out, like a lasagna or something, it comes in this. So I kept those one time because I don't use these inserts. I just use the round pan to transport things back and forth. And so I thought, oh, that would be nice for a template for a circle. So I'm going to use this. I'm just going to old school with a pencil and a pair of scissors, and I'm going to be cutting 2 circles. And so now this is a template that has bigger circles, so I will see which one, and I'll just trace and cut, and I'm going to cut 2 big circles. That is the poor man's version. Yes, use a bowl or anything of a circle shape to get that big circle shape, because I don't have a cutting system. I don't know if my Martha Stewart would be that big, but I just don't feel like I'm on the verge of purging that, I think. Okay, so now let's talk about the photos and these 23, the 23 photos. How am I going to decide? Because then I'll come back with a finished page. Okay, so how did I translate this load prompt for this 2-page? Okay, because the load prompt talked about, do you believe in magic, and of course in music. So I took the word music and magic, and I'm going to combine it together, and I even wrote it down here so I didn't forget. The magic of music. Okay, that's going to be the title of my page, and it's going to be about this parade that, you just happen up on them, as you're going from land to land. And so that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use one of those thickers that's in my kit for most of the title, and then I pulled out my slice, and I knew I had one called Music and Dance. I'm absolutely going to use some icons. Definitely use these music symbols, and maybe even the word music. Maybe do something fun with that for the title, but that's what my title is going to be, the magic of music. So again, thanks to the load prompt for that, because I would not have came up with that on my own. And then of course with that kickstart of the Scrapbook Generation sketch, taking just an ordinary, you know what I mean by ordinary, parade at Disney. They pop up all the time, but then to turning it into something special, because there is magic in music, especially at Disney, when everybody just forgets that you are just with a bunch of strangers and you start dancing on the street with a bunch of people in costumes. It's just fun. So I'm going to break out my slice machine. So whenever I'm pulling items for a page and I think of that, I just go pull it, place it on my desk, and then I don't have to remember it when I go to, actually do the page. So let's talk about these 23 photos. Okay, I'll move my stencils here, or my templates, either way. So on the sketch, it calls for 2 focal photos on the left, and that's exactly what I did. I don't even know if they're cutting them down. I think they cut them down. I'm going to keep mine at 4x6. So of these 23 photos, I picked out my 2 favorite, which is here. Okay. Now with Disney photos, especially with parades, you have to realize there's going to be people in your photos that there's going to be an arm and an ankle and an ear and just body parts, because you don't know these people, but that doesn't matter. That's the magic of music. Everybody's dancing and having fun. You just don't care. And if you're someone who you don't want to be in other people's photos, don't ever go to Disney, because you're going to be in someone's photos. So all of these people, I don't know any of them, but they're going to be in my album because it's about the parade. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the right, and it's simply these 2 photos in the 4x6. That's going to be my left page with a bunch of random circles. Okay, so on the right then, I'm going to come here and I'm going to cut all of these down, and I'm going to do a collage, and I won't use all of these. Okay, but what I'll do is when I'm done with this group of 23 photos for this parade, I will not do anything else with the rest of these. Okay, so it's not like I'm going to plan another page, because I only need 2 pages to talk about this parade, and then I'm done. I don't need to scrapbook every single one. Okay, now if you want to get the most, then you know that you would cut down your photos as much as you could, and then you could get a lot of photos. So of these 23, I have 21 left. We will see how many I have left for this collage on the right. Now you see my photos are already printed, so I'm not going to use a template for a collage and print it out that way. I'm absolutely going to cut mine down and work at it that way. See, like this is a nice photo, but I maybe don't need all of it. Maybe I just need the cast member, or maybe I just need a section of the castle. Okay, that type of thing. So what I do to start, and I got asked this, so let me move my 2 favorites. Okay, what I do is then I will sit here and I will put all like photos together. So here we have Stitch, and I don't know who that guy is. And so then we have the actual parade, and then the parade and the castle. So we will just put all liked items together. Okay, and there is characters of the parade. Characters of the parade. Okay, and there's the castle. You'll see that's a nice one, but it's got a lot of people. Okay, and I will just simply do this in a fast manner. Okay, characters. We'll just put all the characters. Okay. Okay, see, there's 3 of Stitch. I don't need 3 of Stitch. There's the Incredibles. He may be in something else. Okay. So we have 3 of Stitch. Okay. Then we have whoever this fella is. Okay. and there's characters, whoever that fella is, and whoever this fella is, okay? So I would use one of each of those, but I will cut it down, okay? So then my rest is just of the parade, and I'm going to now separate these even further, okay? So I have Mickey and Minnie, and then there's the, well, each one, there's Goofy, okay? There's Mickey. Oh, there's Daisy, or Donald. And then, I hope you can see what I'm doing, and then there's somewhere the castle. That doesn't even, there's a character. Okay, these are the people in the parade. Okay, so yes, I'm getting some duplicates, and so when you don't know what to do, just put them in a pile and just process of elimination is what it is, okay? So I already can tell you I have some that are really going to be favorites, like this one here. Goofy has his back to me, but I have the castle, so that's a good one. And anything that just doesn't draw my attention, okay? So there's Mickey, but he's not really, or yeah, he's not looking at me, but there's Donald. Yeah, there's Mickey. Okay. So right there's two that I know I'm not even going to bother with. Okay. And then again, it's just process of elimination. Okay. Yep. Now, what you can do then is keep these to the side. So if you need a tiny little photo, you can always just pick a piece from those. Okay. So there, I took that 23 photos and I took 6 away right off the bat. Okay. But then I have them in a group. Okay, so, and then I will just put these in a pile in order, and I'll start from there. Okay, now I hope that made some sense. So really, it is just basically process of elimination. I started with my 2 favorites, and then I separated them into basically people or characters. And then, you know, there's just some that you'll see a photo and you just know you remember that. So then definitely use that photo. But a lot of these, you know, with the characters, you got to get them in there. Okay, now I don't know any of these people, but I love seeing these little kids dancing and having fun. Just love that. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, he's having a blast on his own. Yes, okay. So very fun. So that is my left. That's going to be my right. And so then on the right, I will use again scraps. I will use my circle punches and all those lovely embellishments. So that is how, when I get a load prompt, how I start it. Now, how long does this process take? Sometimes I'll come back and I'll pull the photos and the sketch, or sometimes I'll just do a sketch and then my papers, and sometimes I'll pick a kit one day and then I pick my punches the next day. It's whenever I have 10 or 15 minutes. I normally do not have just hours upon hours to sit and play and things like that. So it's just little chunks of time. And I think for a lot of us, that is how we scrapbook. So that is how I'm going to start the page. Come back. I'm going to do a little bit of magic, and then we're going to have a finished 2-page spread. Okay, so hold on. Do you believe in magic? Okay, that's enough singing. But that song's been running through my head as I've been creating this page, because that was the load prompt that Alice gave us. So fun. So of course I took that load prompt of magic and music and turned it into a Disney 2-page that says the magic of music, because that's what this is about. Just having fun at the parades, and this can be done about any parade. It just isn't at Disney. Okay, so I wanted to show a couple of things. Of course, my big showstopper is my left-hand page, because the right is just a photo collage, and I'll talk about that. So for the left page, I took my 2 favorite photos and I trimmed just a hair because I wanted my mats to be 4x6, and so I just trimmed a hair on my photos, overlapped them, and then placed them on the showstoppers of those 2 big circles. And I have no idea what size they are. Well, I get out my T-square and we could kind of guesstimate what they are. About a 9 and about a 9 3/4. And so I just used those templates that I showed earlier for those. Now, when you're tracing and cutting a circle by hand, it's not going to look perfect, so you kind of have to get over that. But one way I combat that is that I take my distressing tool and I go around those big circles that I hand cut, because I do get a little cattywampus. I'm left-handed. I can't cut a straight line to save my life. And so I just use my distressor, and then it'll look off. It'll look off because, you know, using a distressing tool will make a circle look imperfect. So you kind of just embrace that, but that's a little hack to get around those circles from not looking perfect, okay? And then you can see that I took my circle punches and used, I mean, look at all these that I have left over. I just went to town with my scraps and I just punched, of course, there's a Mickey head. And then what I did was I put them to the right here and I just played with them rather than thinking, okay, I'm gonna go punch an orange, I'm gonna go punch a yellow. I just punched my scraps, because whatever's left over, I'll just put in the the kit and play with it, okay? And then, of course, my title, The Magic of Music, I did use my slice machine, and I cut out the word music, again, using a scrap. And then I just layered on top of just some white scraps to give it a faux chipboard. And so I think those were 4 layers. So just glued them all together. And, of course, sprinkled in some sequins. In the round shape, because anytime you're talking about movement in a parade, especially a move it, shake it, dance it, and play it parade is definitely movement. You want to get in the shape of the round. So this sketch was perfect for this theme. And then I also enamel dots, enamel stars, and even some little bits and bobs from my thicker set that came from the word magic. And I wanted to show that I use my Scotch super glue gel, okay, for my sequins, because that's the only thing I find, because you know sequin is a non-porous surface, and so this really works well. So I just put them on there and I just let them set overnight, or you know, for a couple hours, and then see, they're not going to come up. There's no way. And so then with my music notes, I used my slice machine to cut out several of these. I didn't know how many I was going to use, and I was already there. Just took my black scrap, and so then I took foam tape, which is here, and I put that behind my music notes just to give it a little emphasis, okay? So that was my left page. And then, of course, because this is so colorful and so busy, I got to do the opposite on the right page, which is basically a photo collage. So if you see, I have 2 photos on the left, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? 3, 6. So I used 10 photos of those 23. Okay, so what I will do with those leftovers is that I will put them in an envelope, and it'll say Disney leftovers, and this was February 2018. Okay, and I'm not going to do anything else with those other than in my leftover box, even though I have more left over than I used, and that's quite fine with me, because as I was going through those photos, I just needed a representation of that parade. I did not need every 23 photos. Okay, you can certainly get more photos. How many did I say I got? 6. I got 8. But for me, I decided I would much rather have one. You know, I would much rather take my nicer photos and put them in a bigger size than to use a lot of the photos in a smaller size. So when you're doing a collage, you can decide, okay, in a photo collage, there's no rhyme or reason, and there's no rule to tell you how many photos is in a photo collage. It's totally what you wanted. So for this page, I wanted less photos, but I wanted bigger photos, and you can see that's what I did. And I simply just laid them out how I wanted. And I wanted to show you a little tip I learned over the years when you're doing a photo collage and you're piecemealing it, okay? You're piecing it together. So you always kind of, you know, lay out what you want before you start cutting, okay? And then you decide you're going to work from the right and work your way to the left. And why is that? Because you're going to be short a little bit. And so if you're going to be short on a collage, let it be on the inside of your page, because this inside goes to your album spine and you won't notice it. Yes, that's a trick I learned over the years. And so then I start with my right, and then I work my way over, okay? And so then what I do is that I do not trim my top or my bottom photos until I'm done with my collage, and I'll show you why. So here was my scrap of stitch left over. Okay, there was my scrap. Okay, and then I had this photo up here of the castles. Okay, no, that's wrong. Where's that at? Where did that go? Oh, where did that go? I'm trying to think where that went. Okay, this went down here. And okay, this was up here with us. No, where did that go? Oh, that was up there with the fox. Okay, so you can see I didn't keep all my scraps, but I wanted to keep something. So as I was working from here and working over, I started here, and then I didn't trim stitch until I was down at the end. And because if I would have pre-measured that, I might have been short. So I always say leave some overhang and then trim when you're done, especially up here. I think this is Briar Fox. I think that's who it is that I started down here and then I worked up and I left that photo just like that, and then when I was done with my collage, I took my scissors and trimmed that, because if I would have measured this, I think it's basically a 3x4 or 4x4. Yes, a 4x4. If I would have trimmed that, nothing will line up. So when I do my collages, I let the photos overhang and then just use my scissors to trim, if that makes sense. And again, working from my right, working over. And so you can see that on my left here, I did not match up. There is some extra there, and it's no big deal. It's going to be in your album on the inside where your spine is, and so no one will notice it. So that's why I would say make this the prettiest side and work your way over. Okay, and so then all I did was butt those photos up, and then with my paper here, I have paper underneath this center photo because I didn't want to have to measure this and match it up. So I, again, was working from the right, working over, and so there's extra paper underneath this. That's a quick way to do a collage without having to get exact measurements. Okay, and so then I took a few word stickers that was from my sheet that I had pre-made for my kit, okay, which was right here, and I just took the ones I thought that you know, kind of told my story a little bit more, and I overlapped, life documented, so happy. Those kids make me so happy. And then looking on the bright side of life, because I didn't have my little sidekick with me. Even took the year 17, put it right here with Mr. Incredible, and then I took my leftover punched circle shapes and made just a little embellishment here. And then you'll notice with this embellishment, a little cluster right here, it's the exact replication of what was on the left. The colors, the stars, the music note, and my journaling is going to go on this little block right here, okay? And I'm going to absolutely tuck it underneath that little cluster there, and then I'm going to overlap that photo, okay? And so then also when I'm done with my collage, I do the bend test. And so this is what I do, okay? My journaling will go there. And if anything pops up, that's where I take my quick dry and I will make sure every one of those corners are down. And that is how quick. This was quick. I love doing a collage. But over the years, I have learned some tricks. Okay, start from your right, work your way over to the left, and then do not measure your photos. Just kind of, you know, butt them up together, leave some overhanging, and then once you know things are matched up, then you can take your scissors and you can absolutely trim the top of your photos after they're adhered. It just makes it easier, okay? Because measurements and trimmers and photos and seams just don't match up. Okay, so now what will I do with my leftovers? These are going to just all go back in my kit because I'll just keep playing with them. And then I'm going to put my journaling here. Yes, and I even took a banner, little banner shape there for my journaling. Love that. Okay. I think that was all I wanted to say for my 2-page. Okay, now if I didn't have my desk a mess, there would be my 2-page, but you get the idea. The right is just a photo collage, okay? And then I did have my extra photos laying here somewhere. And so, like I said, I had more photos left over than I used, I think. Let's see. I even got, oh, did I even tell that? I cut some in a circle shape. How long has it been that we took a photo and punched it in the shape of a circle? That's back in the old days. That's back in the early 90s when we first started scrapbooking for some of us. But it still works well when you're dealing with a lot of photos. And also, too, I have a lot of circles represented on this left page, all because of the Scrapbook Generations inspiration. So I even took 3 photos that was in that leftover pile. Yeah, so there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that meant I had 10 left over. And I won't do anything else with those 10 leftovers except put them in an envelope called leftover and put the date on. So that is just how fun. I do have a hidden Mickey on there somewhere if you want to see if you can find that in the close-ups. And I think that's all I wanted to say. It was so fun playing with this because of the load prompt, and then also too the magic of music. Just really, really fun. And then playing with a kit, everything is there. I mean, I didn't even really crack open too many supplies. I played with my stickers. I played with my lump and bump. Didn't even break out any washi. I had this whole pile of sequins to play with. Very, very fun. Okay, so that is my Disney 2-page layout, the magic of music, using the load prompt. And so, you know, I will come back again with another load prompt coming soon. I'm going to play with them probably all summer long. So that is one thing I wanted to say about the load event, just because it's happening in May. And if you sign up for the ScrapHappy membership, you have access to these load events for as long as you're a ScrapHappy member. So I play with these load prompts, not just the month that it's occurring. I will play with these all month long because I don't have time, you know, to do a layout a day. And so you can take the load event however you wish to. There are some serious competitors in the load event, and they will absolutely load a layout a day to the Flickr gallery, and they get their name in that mega prize. Okay, so you can do it that way too. Okay, so what else did I wanted to say? I think that was it. Other than I had fun playing with this, so thank you, Alice. Thank you, ScrapHappy. Love the load event. Yes, and we're just now starting to play with them. So come back to RTS because you never know what we're gonna do. Bye.